Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Phil from Team Cerberus bringing you this week of my Battlebots fight predictions, where I make up completely nonsensical ideas about what I think robots are going to do at a competition that happened months ago, and I just kind of guess blindly at what the outcome's going to be, and people who were there probably just laugh at how stupid I am. But yeah, they've got a very interesting episode this week. And BattleBots is probably so excited about it, they don't know how to spell the name of the month the fights are being aired in. And we've got quite a lot of bots that we haven't seen on the regular show so far this season, or really ever before. So it's going to be... I'm curious to see how this is going to shape up, really. So for our first fight, we have Kraken versus Huge. And this goes right into what I was just saying about feeling stupid about trying to make predictions about what happened months ago. I know Matt probably has some great scheme for this thing. I'm sure he probably either has some kind of attachment or some strategy to try to either get to Huge's wheels or try to attack the center body directly with some kind of attachment. But in its stock form, obviously, this would not be an advantageous fight for Kraken, and definitely one that Huge would have, in theory, a relatively easy time because they have a nice big target up high on Kraken to try to hit. So I think similar to the Hydra fight, this may be all about adaptation and seeing what you could try to bring against Huge to stop them. And I'm hoping Matt comes with a really cool idea to attach to Kraken that's not, lame and shoving it in a corner and being stupid. I feel like he's not that kind of builder in the least. From as long as I've seen him fight for years and years, I don't think he's that kind of guy. So hopefully he doesn't let me down. But yeah, I don't know. This is an interesting one to start the night. I want Kraken to win. I'm gonna predict Huge will win though, just because it's the more, I guess, clear cut one to win if the robots go in stock. But I honestly don't think the robots are going into this stock, or at least Kraken's not going into this stock. Fight 2 is our animal-themed fight of the night. We got Axolotl versus Ribot. Axolotl didn't make much of an impression on me in the Bounty Hunters fight we got to see of it. And honestly, I think Ribot does have a good advantage here. It's got the horizontal disc, which to me would be the one. If I was me, I would pick the horizontal to go into this one. I think there's plenty of little bits that you could hit horizontally with an Axolotl that could do a lot of damage. There's tires to rip off. There's little fork wedgelet things to hit. You can make a lot of pretty sparks and, mess that thing up and make it really hard to get you anywhere near its drum. So, yeah, I think Ribot's going to have not an easy time here, but I think they're going to definitely have the advantage. Fight 3, we have Rotator versus Big Dill. Very curious to see how this goes. Big Dill didn't really seem like its forks were super durable when it had its fight against Lockjaw, so I'm not really certain how well they're going to hold up to something as vicious as Rotator. Rotator has been dishing out the damage this year, and we know this happened before their beta fight, I believe, because I believe they said that was their third fight. So this is probably their second fight of the tournament. And yeah, I don't know. It's proven to be a really reliable bot this year with a lot of bad luck in its matchups where it lost to Valkyrie and it lost to Beta. And, both of those were not easy fights. So in some weird way, not that I think Big Dill is a pushover, I think it's got one of the best drivers around behind it and it's a decent design, but I kind of wonder if this was the selection committee trying to give Rotator something it could deal with maybe a little easier than the previous opponent. Well, I guess, like I said, this is actually maybe not his third fight, right? So I don't know. I'm just speculating like way too far out there, trying to think out what the producers are thinking in terms of what robots they're throwing at other robots to try to shape the round of 32. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go with Rotator on this one, though. I think they do still have the upper hand here. Round 4, speaking of Lockjaw, we have Jackpot versus Lockjaw. Jackpot, I don't know. I feel like I haven't quite understood yet what it's really capable of. I know it did well in its last fight, but, it was plagued with issues in its first fight, which, plenty of people are. But I don't, I just don't feel like I know that bot well enough yet to say if it really has any good advantage over Lockjaw here. I think Lockjaw has the kind of balanced design a little more than Jackpot. Jackpot is very, F off vertical spinner, which is a design I love. I definitely enjoy people sticking big old vertical spinners and not doing the little teeny tiny conservative ones that have become the trend lately. But I think at the end of the day, Donald Hudson has the balancing act down with how he has Lockjaw set up between driving and defense and offense and all that stuff. So I think he kind of has an inherent advantage in this fight, unless Lockjaw is able to just dish out a major, major hit really early on and kind of cripple Lockjaw and give them the opportunity to kind of try to pick him off a little bit afterwards. But barring that, I think Lockjaw has the advantage. Next up, we have Bloodsport versus Kronos. Very excited to see Bloodsport back. It feels like it's been a while since we've seen him back for the way that these episodes have aired. And definitely one of my favorite bots from this year. They've really just been being super destructive this season, and I love it. Kronos, I think, is another one we haven't seen yet this year. 99% sure we just saw that little clip, I think, against P1, right? Or am I thinking of even the right bot? I don't remember at this point. But I know they have a heavy shell on there, so they should be able to take some hits from Bloodsport relatively easily. But I don't think they could dish out the level of hits they need to really knock Bloodsport out. If anybody's going to knock Bloodsport out, I kind of think it's going to be Bloodsport. But yeah, I don't know. I think they still have the advantage. They have so many options with that bar as well that I'm sure they're going to have an attachment or a version that is, really set up to go up against the shell of Kronos and really be able to not just deal damage, but also put them in a position where they're not like knocking themselves super off balance and leaving themselves open for attack and all that stuff. So yeah, very excited to see Bloodsport get back in the ring. In our penultimate fight this time, we have Wareasy, another bot we have seen nothing of as far as I'm aware, going up against Fusion. And yeah, I don't know. I really just don't know anything about Wareasy. I don't know the team as far as I'm aware. I don't even remember offhand who's on that team. And I don't really know, this bot looks very Hypershock-esque, but I don't really know much about it beyond that. Fusion has been a mixed bag. They did really well in the Aegis fight, but that robot didn't really seem to have the most durable armor that we've seen at BattleBots. And they had a lot of trouble in that Mad Catter fight, but that was also, at least it seemed like it was their first fight. Was it Mad Catter? Man, I am like, my memory sucks tonight. I'm sorry. I'm trying to sound smart, and I'm just sounding dumber and dumber as we go. What else is new? But I don't know, like, Wareasy seems like it has enough armor that it could be able to hold Fusion at bay a little bit. If it has a different kind of wedge attachment, the one in their profile photo or profile, their listing photo there is a pretty shallow wedge. If they had something a little beefier, they might be able to get some advantage of having Fusion knock one of its weapons into the ground like they did in that first fight they had, and kind of try to throw them off balance and get them in a state where they're not really able to pursue you across the ring. But yeah, that's all I can really see is just trying to like go hard against Fusion and knock him off his game and get him to kind of self-destruct. But from that last fight we saw of it, it looked pretty damaging. It looked pretty dangerous. So I'm going to give Fusion the advantage here, mostly because I don't know enough about Wareasy to say much. And I mean, I hate to say it. I don't mean to be a jerk about it because, yeah, I don't know. The fact that we haven't seen Wareasy yet and we're seeing robots doing basically their final fight, the ones that we've seen all their fights, it leads me to believe that they haven't done anything impressive enough to warrant being on TV so far. And it doesn't give me a whole lot of optimism, but also in the arena, anything can happen. So yeah. And then our final fight of the night, Tombstone versus Scorpios. I don't know how to call this one. This is crazy. Obviously, you kind of have to think of this a little bit along the lines of when Jameson with Sawblaze fought Tombstone, but I'm constantly seeing these two, Scorpios and Sawblaze, fight similarly designed bots, and they have very different outcomes. So, despite being similar in shape, it's really maybe not a fair comparison to try to say, well, Sawblaze did this, so Scorpios will do this. It doesn't really follow like that. So, yeah, this is definitely going to be, something that Scorpios is going to have to fight defensively. I'm sure they're going to, be trying to stop that blade if they can, get around to the back if they can, probably drop the saw. Tombstone does have a nice flat top for them to hit. And, I don't think he has all that much armor because that blade is so big. So it's really going to be that game of, can you either outlast his blade or avoid his blade, which, does anybody ever really avoid Tombstone's blade? I don't think that's ever really been a thing. You just really kind of have to take the hit, right? I don't know. This is interesting because, Tombstone is also 1-1 right now. And Scorpios has a good enough chance. If anybody has a chance against Tombstone, Scorpios definitely does. It would be interesting to see Tombstone have one win. And I would definitely, with Bite Force not being around, if Tombstone didn't make the postseason, that would really change up how this year goes in comparison to previous years. Like, it's pretty much always been consistently Tombstone and Bite Force in the, the end tournament. And I want to see Tombstone go through. Don't get me wrong. I love what he brings to the show. I think Tombstone is kind of a vital part of BattleBots continuing on as a show because they do put on, an amazing performance every time, win or lose. They do an amazing show. Or I'm trying to say a word other than show and performance, but yeah, you know what I mean. They're fun to watch. You can't deny they're incredibly fun to watch. But that part of me that's, watched 4 previous seasons of this does have to wonder how interesting it would be if we got a bunch of not the usual suspects in the end tournament here. And some sick part of me really wants to see that. So, you know what? I'm gonna go out on the limb. I'm gonna say Scorpios, just because I kind of want to see what that does. And also, I mean, the cynical side of me is like, well, the producers aren't going to let Tombstone not get in there. They'll have one win and still manage to be the number 1 seed in that tournament. But that's neither here nor there. Very interested to see this episode for sure. I don't know. It's exciting. It's also a little like disappointing because now I know that the tournament's starting to wind down, or the main fights are winding down. We're getting towards the bracket, and I'm kind of not ready to see this end just yet, and we're slowly but surely getting there. But yeah, that's it for my predictions tonight. And I don't know why I brought this in here with me, but I will be having back to my semi-normal content here on this channel soon enough. I'm working on a build report for my new Antweight. It's not done, so it's still have to finish it before I can publish a build report on it just yet. But it's getting close, so there should be a video of that nature coming up here soon to break up all of these fight night predictions. But until then, I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.